I'd like to show you something.
The pace when I'm running, I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
You have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
What's up, everybody? How are you all doing tonight? Toxic Tuesday episode 95. Holy shit-a-roni. Batman. Welcome, one and all. How's it going, John Coppola, Davina Duckworth? Hey, Fat Elvis Southern Viking. Deleted scenes. How are you? Nice to see you here. Yes. 70 Jess, go ahead and bring them up when you want to. Thank you guys for being here early and right away. Yes, it is quite very, very huge. So, obviously, tonight, 1972's The Way of the Dragon, now debatably titled Return of the Dragon for some. We could all have that discussion for later. The finale of the Chuck Norris month, and this will probably be the first of a few Chuck Norris months because Chuck Norris deserves his own month. So this is our finale, and mainly it's a Bruce Lee movie, but I need a slide in Bruce Lee somewhere. And this one was a very fitting tie-in with that one. So I'm all about it. I'm all about it. And I'm so ready to talk about this. And of course, tonight, this is our last one for a few weeks. After tonight, we'll be back in 3 weeks when we return, I think on August the 9th. Let's mark those calendars, folks. August 8th. Sorry, slightly off. August 8th, we will return for episode 96 of Hard Target. So remember that one. The John Woo film, Hard Target, Van Damme. We will return for that. And then it'll be off to the races into episode 100. And we ain't, like I said, you're going to see Hard Target. You're going to see Con Air. You're going to see Lionheart. You're getting spoilers now for 96, 97, 98, 99. But 100 is a very untoxic movie. But it's one of those movies that just needs to be talked about because of its greatness. Because it's a celebration of an all-time great. But we'll say that for another time because, dude, we got a Chuck Norris Bruce Lee showdown. Come on. Come on. This is what it's all about. This is why we enjoy the movies. Bruce Lee's a legend, one of the greatest martial arts fighters of all time. Chuck Norris has his fears. Even Chuck does. And his name is Bruce Lee. And what's up, Wookie Fever presents. How you doing, Just Joe 47, Chris Molina, Moira Kitty, how are you doing? Long time no see. All right, let's bring in our fellow dudes here. How's it going, Mr. Keto Simple with a roundhouse kick? Hold up. I'm doing my hop.
I didn't wear my pajamas. The house clothes look so comfortable. He was like, I'm flying.
He was high-flying and profiling. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Happy to be here, and it feels good to have finally gotten to our Chuck Norris finale. It feels like this has been a whole month of beards, roundhouse kicks, tight pants that are like basically holding back the biggest anaconda ever. And now we get to have the finale with Chuck Norris against the greatest fighter. And there's this movie is a movie unlike many for 800 reasons, and this is going to spawn off many great conversations, and I couldn't be honored to be discussing it with you along with the other gentlemen who will be with us tonight.
I just have so many questions. I can't wait to jump into this.
Oh yeah, I still have questions, and I've been around this movie since the 90s. I've been around this movie since the 90s, and I still got questions. So I'm right there with you to this day. And remember, that's almost 20 years of that. No, almost 30 years of that. Oh my god.
This movie is older than
up?
me. I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, it's one of those things like, what? And what's up, Daz Wolfen? How you doing? And how you doing, Sean Stackhouse, my man? Nice to see you here as well. Let's bring in the red shirt, the Dragon Whip's tail.
Hey, Nick, and hello, Dustin. Oh yeah, this is. I mean, yeah, you could argue whether this qualifies and should be included in the Chuck Norris films, but I got to tell you, Chuck Norris is the only person who could actually give the great Bruce Lee a real fight.
Oh,
and it's the climax of the movie. I mean, who else are you going to go? Who else does Bruce Lee go to have the climactic fight of a movie? It has to be
Chuck Norris makes me climax. I had to. It was like low-hanging fruit.
We'll keep that in mind.
You would have that fruit hanging for Chuck. Oh, damn. Glad to have you here, Red Shirt.
Oh, yeah. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to talk about. And yes, folks, there will be, unfortunately, no Mark D with a C tonight. So we'll have sporadic photos, and we do have some clips to show off. One that's going to really stand out because of the dubbing. And a lot of us grew up with this movie. And for those who didn't, they remembered it very quick for how strange it was. So we're going to roll with it tonight. And we got
Speaking of the dubbing, I got to say this. Oh, Nick, I got to say this. The dubbing was a standing joke. Not in this movie, but in Hong Kong Kung Fu movies. Where and it's like, if you've ever seen the really old Godzilla movies, where the dubbing isn't even in the soundtrack when the lips are moving. Right. That's the way Money Martial Arts. Yes. And then about 3 seconds later, you'd hear, want to fight?
I will take her down.
At least in this movie, it looked like they were talking when you were hearing them. So I'll give them that. They picked some very strange voice actor choices. Made some very weird voice actor choices.
Too.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, Red Shirt. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, Cavatino, Steve Mitchum, Davina Duckworth, and Rod Thunderheart. What's up, Josh Post? All right. Let's bring in the other dudes. Mr. Dick's Division man, Bruce Lombardo.
Hello. Whoa.
Nice of you to be working that shaft. Look at really nice in your hands.
I'm trying to pull the paint out of that. I tell you what, the first
I'm going to get something out of it, all right.
That did not help your side of that. We have heart attacks, and I can tell.
Did somebody want to go over to Nick Weiser's house and make sure he has some waffle fries to help him clog up the heart just a little further? That way. Anyway, this movie, I love this film but like the first 5 minutes of it, Bruce Lee is so lost. He reminds me of Wang and Caddyshack. This place is restricted, Wang, so don't tell him you're Jewish.
Restricted Wang, played by Wang.
What?
Hold on. This is restricted Wang. Yep, it's gonna be a shit show today. This is gonna be a good way to go out today before the break. Oh, great to have you here, Bruce. So
Same,
glad to
Nick.
have you back.
Yeah, I
Delete
like being
raisins
here.
out the window.
And action come. Hello. Along with you, Phoenix Knight 08. All right. Let's bring in last but not least. He is that 70s rock fan with the fist of furry. Not fury.
Good
You
evening.
almost stopped me.
Good evening, everybody. I mean,
Again.
there's been so many disgusting comments already. I don't think we're going to be able to top that. I think we've out-toxiced ourselves already. I've been hurting my toxics laughing at these. So this is one of my favorite movies, actually. Enter the Way of the Missing Golden Drunken Dragon Master Force of Evil. It's definitely one of my favorite movies.
Well, what about its original title, which was like
Don't say it.
Bing Long Guao Zhang?
Oh, yeah, One Hung Glow.
Bing
Don't
Long
say,
Guao Zhang?
do not say the R word. It's not Return
Something
of the
wrong?
Dragon. It's Way of the Dragon. The Way of the Dragon, not the Return of the Dragon.
It
Well,
was
some
always
people like to
advertised as
debate
that.
on it being way. I always stuck
There is
with
no debate.
way. I always stuck with way.
So
I'm on
anyone,
the side of
I
the way.
hear anyone saying Return of the Dragon, I will make them watch all 180 episodes of The Water Margin or Monkey. In fact, both. And then they will be beaten into submission and they will just
You
give it the
might
proper
need
title.
to contact Snow Dub.
But yeah, this is I was, unlike others I've mentioned, I was alive when this was made. Didn't see it obviously when it came out. Didn't see it when it came out because I was only like 9 years old or something. But I did see it in the sort of mid to late 70s on television, and then on VHS a number of times after. And on TV, it was on a lot of. Always once a year you can guarantee it'll turn up on late night television in the UK somewhere. So I love this movie. It's right in
I
my
do
wheelhouse.
too.
Absolutely
I
love
do
it. Yeah,
too.
yeah. I could watch this again and again and again. And I like things like dubbing issues and
I love
stuff
it.
like that.
I've
I
made my
love
own
all that.
dialogue over the years. Back in the VHS days, I
Yeah.
could like put on this movie and I could do my own conversation over this. Like I could turn the volume down and start my own conversation. Like, hello,
Yeah. I mean,
would you
I'm
like
not going
a
to claim
handy
exactly.
under the table?
I'm not claiming any kind of expert in Golden Harvest movies, but I do love that stuff. Those Hong Kong productions. It was literally a golden era, I think, for martial arts and in movies. So, and this is one of the, I mean, it's one of the biggest commercial successes. Certainly, it's one of the best movies, and thankfully, Bruce got to direct something before his passing. So.
Yeah.
Imagine how
Wrote and
our
directed.
life-
Tragic pacing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
looking forward to this. As you say, I'm frantically working on trying to make some stills out of the movie as we
Like I
speak.
said,
But I do
just
have a
need
screen
few.
full of images as well. So
We just need a few. Like obviously, so we gotta talk about. We're just gonna get straight to it. That very magical beginning, because it's one of the most. If you're like a newbie, this is a downright confusing scene for you because it's basically Bruce Lee waiting at the airport, and decides that he's clearly he's looking for someone or something you don't know, and he goes up to Luca, and he's just like. And she's like, Mommy! And
Drop
all of a
the ice
sudden,
cream.
yeah, she dropped the ice cream. And then he sneaks into a restaurant. And I still don't understand to this day, how did he need to do that to sneak into that restaurant? Because remember, he held that door almost like that place. It almost seemed like a gated restaurant. Did you ever notice that 70s?
Yeah.
Or that place
Yes.
almost kind of came off like a gated restaurant. So I'm like, was it what do those two things have to do with each other? I didn't understand that. I still don't to this day.
My feeling was that because he's in Rome and he's a bit of a fish out of water, that things are confusing for us as well as for him.
Yeah.
It's something like that. It's confusion, it's disorientation. It doesn't necessarily make sense or have to make sense. But I don't know.
No,
the chat might have a
doesn't-
proper answer, but
I like how it's just like eggs, and she's just like, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
And then he points
What was
at an
Alice
entire
doing?
and then he points at an entire section of the menu, and she brings him the sauce from every dish.
That was
Sorry.
soup.
No.
I thought
There was all Campbell's soup.
every soup.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He asked for all the soups, and he tucks his pants like he's like, I guess you could say like he's doing the fat pants thing.
Yeah.
And
The Italian relief.
this isn't those scenes, but I'm just going to run through some stills as we talk. So keep talking.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead. And as he's tugging his pants, he then gets full, and then he goes out and he finally finds Mrs. Chen, and they have a very unusual introduction to each other. And he right away brings up, "Do you know where the toilet is?" And I thought I still laugh at that to this day. Because
Because
like-
he's Hong Kong, you would say toilet. You say British, English influence. It's the
maybe I'm
British
used to
influence.
I'm used to
Yep.
American speak of either the bathroom,
Because you
the John, the
restroom,
shitter.
washroom, but you gotta remember
I laugh
Hong-
at the term restroom. I will never take
Yeah.
that term seriously. The
Hong Kong.
restroom.
There's not a lot of resting goes on in there. Well, sometimes there's occasionally, but because Hong Kong was a British colony, they're very British, and
Yeah.
that's another thing. He's in Rome and he's acting like a British tourist. Doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So
What was Alice doing away from Mel's diner? That's the part about the diner scene I really did not get. Like, how did she escape? How did she get over to Rome at an airport gated restaurant? That I wonder that every time I see this.
I think I just got it.
Don't wonder too hard. Don't wonder too hard. Remember, we're going with the flow with this movie, because as soon as he finally finds her and he uses said toilet, guess what he needs to do at her place? Use the toilet again.
I was going to use the toy on her. I thought you were going to say
Oh,
it's the toilet again.
And-
Well,
and-
foreign food.
well,
foreign
she's like,
food,
"Oh, you're so stoic. You're such a man."
but
And
if you
he's just like, "Where's your
if you-
toilet?"
if you don't know what men's room or whatever the local equivalent is, I mean, that's one of the first phrases I would learn if I were going to another country. Where's the men's room? Because if you don't know what to look for, you could be in serious trouble. So you'll notice he asked 3 times, once at the airport, once at her apartment, and once at the restaurant.
That's right.
So he always knows where the
Are
the
we
toilet
clear
is.
about where it is? But that's a good point, because what I used to do in my early years of going around Europe as a youngster was it was great when McDonald's became prevalent, because you always could go to McDonald's and know there was going to be a bathroom in it, a toilet. Or a Starbucks or whatever happened to be, like, once they started becoming ubiquitous in the world in the 70s and 80s, head for the fast food place. You'll always get a toilet.
Yes.
They got them public restrooms, man. But
It's a travesty that Rome has a Starbucks.
It probably has now.
No,
Yeah,
they
probably
do.
one
I
in the
saw a video
Colosseum.
like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
right in the
They're too good
Colosseum,
for
right
that.
there. But that's actually quite good, because the Colosseum would have been full of that shit back in the day, in the Roman gladiator days.
full of that
guys.
shit.
Wolf nipple chips. Wolf nipple chips.
Yep.
Get
Get
them
them
all
all there. All
Get them all up.
Oh, that was
locks,
good.
tongues.
Yeah.
Tongs and dongs.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, no.
Right.
You're actually right. You're probably right. It probably would have been full of hawkers and vendors and people selling you things, and
I'll stop sharing that for the moment.
you know, yeah. But I don't know. I think he was being practical.
I think
Right.
he just had bunghole issues. Before Beavis and Butthead had bunghole issues, it was Bruce Lee in this movie, man. He was already using the toilet the
He
second
needed
time.
he needed
And
TP for his bunghole.
did you
TP.
notice after he used TP for his bunghole, he like you see him come out of the bathroom and you see him like basically just getting his pants together. And I always had a debate in my head since 6th grade. Did he ever wash his hands? Because he'd go sitting right on a table. And I was just like, hold up. He's still doing his pants unless he washed his hands and touched his clothes wet and then walked out buttoning up back up his pants. I always thought the order of that was like very backwards at the time. The mystery of the bathroom using by Bruce Lee. I was just like, what? And then before you know it, they're just out and about and they're sitting on the bench and she's trying to like teach him like I guess manners, I guess, or how to be social people. And then the Italian girl stops by. It's seeing Bruce's expression, but he's like doing the smiles, is like, or he's doing the wink or something.
There's one other funny one. There's one other funny bit actually. It's really brief. He goes into the bathroom, goes into a stall, and that blonde tourist guy comes in after him, and sees him.
The third bathroom use,
and sees him with his feet on the toilet seat, squatting with the door
so
open.
we know he does the hover technique. Confirmed.
Right, and
he's a hover.
Well,
man.
if you and maybe people who've traveled more widely around the world than I have can tell me this, but I know that in certain countries, you don't get a seat; you squat. So he was just he didn't realize that you're supposed to sit on it.
Okay, these aren't going to be marked D with the C level, but I've got some.
They don't need to be. They don't need to be. That's what matters. They don't need to be. We're not here. Once again, we got this. We can carry this, so we're fine. But
and I do love
anyways
in the credits. In the credits themselves, they actually, when they have Chuck Norris listed, 7-time world karate champion Chuck Norris.
Yep,
Chuck Norris. It's a shame his name wasn't Matt Hunter.
And then they had Bruce Lee, world 7-time toilet asking champion.
Toilet squatting champion.
Who knows?
Oh, that guy
Chinese
there,
boxing.
Hwang In-sik, Korean
wanging it,
Korean martial
wanging
arts
it.
legend. That guy's a legend. And it's great how the Koreans popped up in a lot of these Hong Kong movies, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. But he's
Hapkido.
still working.
I have heard of Hapkido. I've heard of Hapkido.
Yeah.
So that makes sense with me.
That's right. And that's his specialty. Yeah. So he was in a lot of things back in the day. He's more of a teacher now, but great Korean artist, martial artist. Oops.
Well, I was never informative on a lot of the very well-known names. I just know the most normiest names. But yeah, you watch this guy like, damn, dude. And this got to be Bruce Lee's like movie where he got to do a lot of the shots per se. It was nice enough Bruce Lee had his moment because I would have never imagined him doing those type of things. To me, he was the actor. I didn't know until later on in my life he was involved behind the scenes. So to me, I was like, what? He does other things besides act and kick ass? I guess he does. Look at that face. That's the face that Italian lady saw and was just like, I like you. I want to
going
fuck
too fast.
you.
I love
Oh, that's nice.
I love her when she's staring at him. He reacts. He looks over at her twice, and when she finally leaves, he has a really noticeable sigh of relief.
Yeah.
He doesn't say a word, but you get exactly what he's thinking from just a couple of looks at her, and then when she finally somebody comes to get her, and she walks away, he's just like, oh.
I laughed at that. I still laugh at that to this day. Yeah. It's just like, so what was the relief? Was she being like the nosy lady who wouldn't stop talking? He was trying to keep to himself. I wonder about that to this day. What's up, Tuna Guy? It says, a personal favorite Bruce Lee flick. There's an alternate version of the US. You know what? Is that the alternate version that doesn't have the, I'll just say Italian lady? Because I grew up watching this movie, and I did not see, let's just say, that particular scene at the room until I was older. So I was shocked. But yes, I do remember hearing about it as Return of the Dragon, being really confused. So I was like, is it Way of the Dragon or Return? I always called it Way. By the time I hit teenager, I stuck with Way, and that's been my fight since. And 70s got me to back on that. It's the Way of the Dragon.
It's the Way of the Dragon.
As released in Hong Kong, it was the Way of the Dragon.
That's
And
right.
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. As released in the United States as a remake, it was Return.
Yeah,
Stick with the original, folks. It's got boobs.
We have the VHS. We have the VHS from Farm and Fleet. Blaine's Farm and Fleet used to sell VHS tapes. They were selling this for like $7.99. Good purchase.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it would be.
Yep.
Nice. I actually live by a Farm and Fleet. There's one right by me. They actually have decent stuff. I got my newest pair of boots from there. I like that.
I just saw one of those for the first time. They're building one up near where our in-laws live in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Something else. It's not Menards, but
something else about this movie when you were looking at these stills, with wide shots, with close-ups, with sometimes a zoom in on somebody at a critical moment in a scene. Keep in mind, this was Bruce Lee directing this, his first and I believe only movie he directed.
Yeah.
And the cinematography in this is better than I think any of the other Hong Kong Kung Fu movies I've seen, including Enter the Dragon. So I think he did a hell of a job as a director for his first time out.
I agree. I strongly agree, because I didn't know it. To me, this was just a cool, well-made martial arts movie. And then when I learned that he actually was doing directing, I'm like, wow.
Yes, but did he know where the toilets were? Did he know where the toilets were on set?
He had the toilets.
70s, he had an assistant on set at all times to tell him where the toilet was.
Tell him where the toilets were.
Do you know where I can place my bunghole at?
So if he had so much trouble knowing where the bathrooms were, and he finally meets up with his person he's meeting up with, and she has an idea like that he doesn't know anything about where he's at, and then she just lets that woman pick him up and just take him away. That's like the most confusing, because like she kind of goes humph as the lady walks him away, and she didn't bother saying this is a prostitute, this is a whatever. I mean, you're not really sure at first, right? And I'm watching this movie and I'm like, why would she just let him walk off like that?
I think that mainly that was just that was another fish out of water scene that Bruce Lee wrote into the screenplay. That he just doesn't know. She's not sure whether he knows. She probably isn't sure whether he knows. You could explain this as he knows she's a streetwalker, and she's like, "Well, I'll see you at the restaurant then," or whatever.
I mean, I would have stayed, but I mean, he ran out. I mean, I would have stayed, but
he's just about to shove this kid's face into that ice cream.
I thought that kid was done for.
It's fish out of water stuff. I think. I mean, anyone that expects any kind of closely followed narrative in one of these Golden Harvest movies is possibly going to be disappointed.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm from, Golden Harvest is an agriculture company that sells you fertilizer and subscriptions to like pesticides. When I saw Golden Harvest on this, I'm like, what?
Well, that explains why these movies are the way they are then, because they were producing these movies too. It's like Plan 9 from Outer Space. Ed Wood's got the Baptist Church producing these movies. This one's got the agricultural. No,
look at all those giant hot dog. Giant hot dog right there. Wurstel Gigante Panino.
No, that's a reference to Chuck Norris, of course. Wurstel Gigante.
See, they should have had a hot dog for him called the Anaconda.
Papa Burger.
That would have been far in line. And this waitress is so
This is going to be his first sexual conquest in
It's
Rome.
Alice, I'm saying.
Alice.
And this
Alice.
is when he realizes
From the
he's ordered all
sitcom.
the soup.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with the sitcom.
You never
I
saw
just know it
Mel's
was Weird
Diner?
Waitress.
Mel's Diner was the pre-Ed Ed O'Neill's Al Bundy.
Oh.
That sounded like Bruce Lee just about to kick someone's ass, Nick.
That actually made some sense. Oh, look. He's getting that look. Look at that. Look at that. He had a bit of a homoerotic look going there.
You see, the thing is, he would have read the menu. He's a Hong Kong Chinese. He knows English like the back of his hand. He would have read that menu, no problem.
But he's not from Hong Kong. He's from the country. He's far out from Hong Kong.
Oh, true. Yeah.
The new territories.
Yeah. So he's rural Hong Kong. Yeah.
And he's undoing his pants openly in the restaurant. He would have been canceled for that today. He would definitely been canceled. Just even though he was just adjusting it to be fat pants, he still would have been canceled for that because they're like, "What are you doing? He's undressing his pants," and that would have been a cropped out video of guy undresses his pants in restaurants, and they would have left out the context of the fact that he was just adjusting them to adjust to all the food he was eating because that makes sense.
And here he's just realized he knows the Italian word for hooker.
So are these two? I was trying to figure this out. Are those two related, or is he just like somebody her uncle sent to help out?
Her uncle sent.
A friend of her uncle's.
Just someone who's been sent. Yeah, they're not.
Smilex says, obvious love interest girl. I got some news for you. There's an Italian lady in this movie.
Yes.
But I kept kind of waiting for her to come on to him, though. Like, I kept waiting for her to be like, especially after he showed his skills, for her to be like, I got skills.
and
his skills were the most ponytail.
His skills were the most unnatural, and I think that's what attracted Italian lady to him.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, this guy's trying. I'll bring him to my room.
This may be a hot take, but I think I've noticed. I've seen this to a certain extent with a number of martial artists in martial arts movies, especially if they're really good. Gotta stop. Just point out that he makes 3 guesses as to what kind of car this is, and his last guess is a Rolls. I know, or Rolls. No, but they're so centered from their training that they don't emote easily. They don't give much away because obviously they're trained not to give anything away. He does more acting in this film than I saw him do in almost any of his other films. And Chuck Norris had the same thing. He here is basically carved from a block of wood unless he's moving. And Norris had to try and learn to act more. And of course, Norris was inspired to get into acting by Steve McQueen, who's not a movie star that was known for his extremely emotive performances. So,
I love the statue just off to the right here. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but he's
oh yeah, there is a statue there.
Right to the right. Yeah.
Chuck Norris does both of his emotions.
Right. And I would say to anybody who would argue that Bruce Lee lacked talent as an actor, watch him in this movie where he wrote himself his own part.
He's pretty good.
And played it. Yeah. He is pretty good at this movie.
Did you see that big dick in the middle? Guess what?
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren is bigger than that.
Uh-oh.
Dolph Lundgren is so much bigger than that. I'm just saying.
Throw the clip in.
I see. What's her? Cassie, what's up? I gotta get you on Toxic Tuesday. I gotta message you because you would fit right in with this show and the ridiculousness that happened.
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Bruce Lee was in, I don't know if it was the 50s or the 60s. He was actually in the TV series The Green Hornet.
He
played Kato.
Kato, yeah.
And that was his introduction, I think, to Hollywood. And he actually auditioned for the part of Kane in the TV series Kung Fu.
I believe it was his idea for Kane.
he wrote a proposal for a series, which sounds an awful like Kung Fu, and they didn't pick up his series. But then they do Kung Fu. He tried out, and the head executive of TV programming at the network said that they were afraid Americans wouldn't be able to understand him because of his accent. And other people have less generously accused the network executives of not wanting him because he looked too Asian, and they gave it to David Carradine instead. But he publicly never complained about that. He said he understood. But I wonder if that kept him more making movies in Hong Kong rather than approaching Hollywood again.
Did you ever see? Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
No, I was just going to ask him if he'd ever seen the movie The Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, because they spend about 7 minutes on the lost opportunity of Kung Fu as a TV series.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see that.
That would have been good. Yeah, whenever I watch a movie like this with my wife, the first thing she would say is, "Oh, those chairs are made by such and such a person, and they're worth a fortune now." So she's all the 60s and 70s furniture and decor. She'd be all over that stuff.
Guys, I got to respond to this comic really quick before we get back to Southern Viking says Dolph is 65 and just married his 25-year-old personal trainer. You know what that tells you about Dolph? His dick still holds up.
He's the biggest dick in a man that she's ever seen.
It still holds up.
She can hear him coming.
That time, I heard you coming.
I guess so. You can say that whenever Dolph's around, she's full of his love.
That's a strategically placed frying pan right there. I mean, just one frying pan in the middle. That's to deflect bullets or something.
Oh, damn. Oh. That shit will never get old until the end of time. If there's a Sons of Toxic Tuesday edition, I require that he plays those clips. That's gonna be like the rule of inheriting Toxic Tuesday. Is that clip has those clips have to stay on board with everything that goes on. Oh look,
yeah. Would you talk about set design and stuff in this movie? This movie has such a 60s feel, even though it came out in 71. But 70s and I were both growing up at that time. And it wasn't like anybody flipped the switch in 1970 and said, "Okay, folks, the 60s are over. Everybody's going to polyester shirts, polyester leisure suits, and huge bell bottoms."
It took years for things to change. Yeah.
It did. So if you watch these, you look at the first Dirty Harry movie. That's a very 60s feel San Francisco for the most part. You still have the flower children. He still accuses him of being somebody of being a dirty hippie. That it didn't happen overnight. So this is a transitional period in the cultures, a lot of the cultures. And I just watched this movie. I just look at this movie and go, "Wow, this movie looks like it was released in 1968 and it came out in 71."
It does. It does. Okay, anywhere between 67 and 69. And yet, look at all the diversity. As Davina Duckworth, and she beat me to what I was going to say. Interesting set decoration. Chinese peeps living in Rome in the 70s. Yeah, no, and look, they own a restaurant. They own a restaurant in the area too. They open up their own business, and they obviously there's people who's trying to take it over. It's not just a white man. There's a weasel in the group too who wants to take over because even he can be bad too. Oh, here Italian we go, guys. the scene. You know what? We're gonna have everyone on the panel say where they think where he went off with the scene. 70s. What do you think happened when they crossed paths? Do you think he ran away? Do you think they fucked? What do you think happened?
I don't think he ran away.
You think it happened?
I don't know what to say. I mean, I think something happened.
Something happened.
Yeah,
A three-way. Possibly.
possibly.
That's what I would do.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that there was a spark of attraction there.
A spark. All right.
She's 22 in that still that you're looking at right now. She's 22.
What do you? What, oh, hey! Speak of Handy Randy, long time no see.
22, yeah, it's
Good
22.
bad. So far, good time, Richard. Oh, hi guys.
And I also might say that we would be smart to watch every movie she was in.
Yeah.
So what do you
She's
think?
pretty.
Bruce?
We're gonna do a Toxic Tuesday on just movies she was in.
Yeah, because they're absolutely like it's the new Warriors. She does a lot of bad Italian sci-fi, a lot of low budget action, just right up our alley. Like it was, she was made to make films for us.
The Italian B movie circuit, absolutely. Just sci-fi things like not Hercules, but stuff like that. You know, I'm trying to think of some of the examples. City of Women, isn't that one?
What do you think happened in this moment? What do you
Sparks
think
flew.
Bruce?
Yep.
So somebody says sparks flew. Where are you at, Bruce?
In the Italian culture, we call it the thunderbolt. You're going to be doing your normal thing in life. Just you could be doing some mundane task or going to school or what have you, but then you're going to get hit by it because you're going to see somebody and they're going to cause you to realize you've been living your life wrong and you want to live for this person. They override everything else. They make your mornings virile and veiny, and every thought is for how can I make this person more secure. How can I anchor this one down and have it just batch out like 8 or 9 kids for me? That'd be perfect. That thunderbolt is what he got hit by. As many of our younger chatters just saw, they saw that. That's what you want to look
and now
for.
she's on the ceiling, and he's amazed.
Oh man,
sounds like my love life.
I don't know. I hate to be the one with the ice bucket challenge here, but
do it, red shirt.
His chaperone, the girl from the restaurant, is when that woman sits down, she is telling him he should not be suspicious. People you haven't met here are nice. You should just be nice back to them. Yeah. Then this woman sits down and smiles at him. So he decides to be friendly, like he's just been instructed.
That was very convenient, by the way.
Yes.
A movie she was in, I've never seen, but by the title I'd like to, is School of Erotic Enjoyment. So
that doesn't sound at all like a Toxic Tuesday.
Yeah.
But when he watches her walk out, between these two things, he runs out of that apartment.
That's what I mean. He was Mad Mardigan. In that scene, he was Mad Mardigan. I actually kind of think he ran away.
I think he did.
Mexican Iron Man.
If he had been, he'd have gone out the window.
That's true. He didn't go out the window.
How is he Mexican Iron Man?
Well, he thinks he's saying Bruce is saying he stayed and did the deed. I said, yeah, but if he'd been Mexican Iron Man, he would have stayed and done the deed, and just as he was finishing, he'd have to dive out the window.
You have to go out the window.
I think he did the deed. I'm pretty sure he did the deed. That's just me.
What do you think, Dustin?
I know for sure he loosened his pants.
Yes.
He had to make room.
Yeah, with those you see him had to undo his pants a lot, so I think he definitely. I don't think it happened. I don't think so.
Like the jukebox. It's a nice jukebox. There's the toilet.
You know that, like,
the gents. It's a gents.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, if you're looking at his character and the way his character's portrayed in this movie, I don't think he's almost like a full-grown, like 9-year-old is the way he seems.
He's
you know
pretty
what I mean?
naive.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
He probably finished before as soon as he saw her, he probably finished and had to run out.
Yes.
He's like,
72 years old is my cutoff. Sorry, Melissa.
Dude, depending on what if she's 73 and still a looker, sign me up.
One day, you'll all, if you're married, you'll all hopefully be married to a 73-year-old. So be careful what you say.
I know, right? I mean, like, that's my thing. It's like, like Chandra's 19 days older than me. So
19 days.
Yeah.
So she's
72 is my cutoff. So if it was 71 years and then 364 days, then you're good. You're good if it's 364 days after 71 years. But once it that one extra day that makes 72 years, it's like, oh no. Where's that line at?
This is a nice humorous bit here. Yeah. Now we're getting into the
No, get into it.
You guys
man.
can't fight.
It's all about Chinese boxing.
Yeah.
And hold on, no, I gotta do better. Chinese boxing, like that kung fu. Whoa, that's what it's all.
And as usual with Toxic Tuesday, expect to nearly naked men holding each other.
Yes,
dude. Yeah. Oh, dude. And they go back there a lot together. They're always going to the dark alley, shirts off, and and they don't even show you what happens together. It's just right when they show Bruce, they're like, oh, he's here, guys. Keep your clothes on. We gotta make ourselves look professional. And that guy in the middle, he looks like he definitely took the ramming. And the guy in the second to the right, he's just like, I'm a little dazed from what I just took. And then to the guy to the right, it's just like, oh, I just let it go.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced that any of these characters should be wearing a black belt with their gis.
I'm pretty certain you're right.
And the guy in the left, he looks a little curious. He looks a little curious about what could happen. And then to the second to the right, he's just like, he's very skeptical of the amount of men that
on
are
the right
involved in this.
He's digging for gold.
Yes.
Oh, the guy, the Sarah is like, ooh, show me that gold. I want to know where it comes from. And then he's really concerned about where it's coming from.
So here we go.
So why don't you show us?
Then, okay, guys, let's get our pads out and let's take a good dickening from the Bruce. Let's take a good dickening.
He goes, I kicked those guys' asses.
I kicked them.
I kicked their asses.
And their holes.
Oh, he's found the toilet.
Holes included. Oh, the third time he uses the bathroom, and this is where he discovers and confirms that he does the hover technique. He's a hover man. Did you know? I can't remember what country it was, but Dustin, I don't know if you ever caught this, but Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse talked about a time when he was on tour and they had to use floor toilets.
Oh,
that
God,
sounds
yeah.
That sounds
well,
like China, but I don't know if they've ever toured China.
No, I can testify that I used to go to Europe a lot on holiday as a kid in the 60s and 70s. We had family in France. Yeah, they didn't have raised sitting down on toilets. There were literally holes
flat on the ground.
Flat on the ground.
Flat on the ground.
Ceramic,
toilet.
but flat on the ground. Trust me, it's a real thing. It was a real
Ari
thing.
Shaffir talked about that when he said he was in China, and he was like the club that brought him over, the promoter that brought him over, gave him like one of those like travel tissue things, a little package of travel Kleenex or whatever.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna need this because when you get to the bathroom, they don't provide toilet paper or anything for you.
No, they don't. I can testify to that. So they named this early 70s band. I know the guy on the right is Paul Rogers of Bad Company and Free. I don't know who the others are. Which name this band? Come on, Chuck. Come up with names. Come up with names for this band.
Just to go back to the bathroom.
Guy on the left in Super Troopers.
I think he was.
Just to go back to the bathroom talk. When I was in Spain in the mid 70s, a little bit after El Caudillo died, Franco, and Chevy Chase was still joking about how Federico Franco was still dead.
Hey, Mark.
In the bathrooms, you got a bidet in the hotels we stayed in, but I had never seen one in my life, so I didn't even think to try and use it. So they did provide toilet paper, but I swear to God, they went to Party City. It was crepe paper. I almost would have preferred wiping with sandpaper.
Yeah, that stuff that just slides off. Everything slides off it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is getting
What else slides
really
off? Oh, my
shitty to
epidermis.
reveal all this.
So what you're saying is, if you go to Europe or these countries, you don't shake hands.
No.
And
No.
be careful which hand you eat with.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't eat with your left hand.
It's not the same now, but then it's true. It was like that then. Absolutely.
Oh man, this is getting shittier by the minute. Stacey
Yes.
Smith to bite it is not a water fountain.
So okay,
That's right.
so we
Here's
have a
the
friend-
weasel. I want to punch that guy. I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see a guy. Even to this day, I still get annoyed of him. Almost 3 decades.
This guy
now, motherfucker.
This guy could give you change for a $9 bill in threes.
That's right.
This guy is
I don't
so
want to
off.
do math, okay?
Chief
And
George
Paul
talking
Rogers
with
is still
us.
Paul Rogers is still at the door. Not sure he doesn't know if he's staying or going. Paul
Right.
Rogers.
Oh yeah, he's a slimy character.
Dude, and he's definitely
He
got a
plays
weird
it so
fetish
well.
thing going on. He's trying to he was trying to do some diddling to Bruce Lee right there. That was, man, got some weirdness going on there. Yeah, everyone should want to punch that guy. Seriously, you see that guy and you just like, I just want to jump through my screen and just wail at him, bastard. There's nothing like, he's even more unlikable than the main guy who runs the whole gang of dudes who want to take over that restaurant. And remember, this is all over takeover of the restaurant. That's what it's all about, guys. It's about the takeover. So yes, in case you're wondering, what is this about? Basically, Bruce Lee needs to protect that restaurant so they can keep their business. And
It's like
go ahead.
It's like a pre-Roadhouse movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
It is obviously not as toxic.
No,
but yes.
this is Booker T and the MGs.
Yes. if you've ever seen a real Jackie Chan's movie Rumble in the Bronx,
Oh yeah,
it's basically this story with Jackie Chan playing Bruce Lee.
that's right. Yeah.
Love Rumble.
That guy in
Bronx.
red, that's a
Well, that was over
Fred
a grocery
Williamson.
store.
Sorry, Bruce.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a bodega.
Bruce,
And
Not
it
a
was in
restaurant.
New York, but it looked like Canada. I remember because we did that for what? Were you not around during Toxic Tuesday
I
when
thought
we did that
it,
one?
didn't we?
No, I know 70s was I'm asking Red Shirt. Were you there when we did that one?
No, I wasn't there for Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, dude, that was a very fun episode. Yeah, we did Rumble in the Bronx. I think it was like our 20
So
or
now-
30 something episode.
Now
we
we've
did
got-
way back.
Now we've got West Side Story.
Oh, yes, West Side Story.
When you're a jet, you're the
sound
top
of
man in
music,
town.
Man.
Oops.
Oh,
That's
Oh.
the opening band for Show Enough and the
That's right.
Masters.
Yeah.
oh, hold up. I have a clip to show of this particular scene. I have imitated a scene so many times in my lifetime, and you know what? If I even get hit with a claim, whatever, I'll remove it because this clip you can't just not play it. Hold up.
We'll show him Chinese boxing. Yeah, Chinese boxing.
Oh, I have done so much impersonating of that scene, seriously, for decades.
In the American
We'll show
version-
him Chinese boxing. Yeah, Chinese boxing.
The guy with Bruce Lee would make a good oh god, what was that guy? He played Agamemnon in Troy, and he played Stryker in X-Men 2.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Oh, why is the name not coming to me? I know who you're talking about too. That's the part that drives me crazy.
Brian Cox.
Yes.
Oh, the
Yes,
Scottish
Brian
actor.
Cox.
Yeah, Brian Cox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Cox would be a perfect actor for that guy.
Kudos to Boosh McFadden. He's the first one I saw in the chat with it.
Brian Cox is also the
Yeah,
best
thank
ever.
you, Boosh.
Brian Cox is
Shout
the best ever Hannibal Lecter. Brian Cox
I've
Okay.
never seen his
in
Hannibal.
Manhunter. He was
Manhunter.
chilling. Yeah.
Ooh.
Mike, yeah,
Ooh.
never seen Man. What's the CSI guy's name? The guy that was in CSI. William.
I do not know. I've not seen the
shit.
CSIs.
CSI. I'm sorry.
Yes, but
Can't remember the guy's
tell
name.
us.
He was the star of it. It's a fairly low budget, but Brian Cox played Hannibal Lecter, and it's a Michael Mann movie. It's really good. William Peterson.
See, I
that's
should
it.
have known that because it's Michael
William
Mann.
Peterson.
I do like
Thanks,
me.
chat.
Yeah, Will Peterson.
I do like
says
me some
chat.
Michael Mann.
Manhunter is
Yeah.
a brilliant movie. It's way better than Silence of the Lambs. That's just my opinion, but you know.
What?
Whoa,
Seriously?
that's a bold
Yes,
one.
seriously, or I
Wow.
wouldn't have said it.
All
Of course,
right.
I'm serious. I wouldn't have said
Okay.
it.
And
That guy looks like
putting
he
Brian
walks on
Cox
stilts.
putting Brian Cox up against and whose name I just blanked on, who played him in Silence of the Lambs. Damn it.
Talking about
IMDb.
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins.
He chewed the scenery. Cox doesn't do that. He plays them urbane but deadly. There's no
Yes.
flamboyance in him.
Yeah, but I mean, I appreciated the fact that Anthony Hopkins looked like he was an insane person.
I'm not saying Silence of the Lambs isn't a good movie. I just like Manhunter more. That's all I'm
I've
saying.
not been able to get Shanner to watch Silence of the Lambs with me.
That's a tough movie to watch. I can't. I had trouble watching it the first time.
Yeah, and as Josh Post says, Brian Cox was pissed off he didn't get the gig in Silence of the Lambs because he'd played such a good Hannibal Lecter before.
Yeah, that I can believe.
So is that guy in white a chef or a scientist? Or a mad scientist?
Isn't that the restaurant owner? He's in his kitchen whites.
Yeah, sorry, I'm mixing up my Bruce Lee movies.
But yeah, this apartment.
Hold it down. I need about 1 minute, guys.
Okay.
All right, I thought you meant stop.
Hold it down.
No,
well,
not
just
that. Hold on,
explain
let's
this.
keep going.
Explain this. So he's already asked the young lady whose apartment he's sharing, how can I get a gun? And she says, easy, you can buy them anywhere. And he goes, oh boy. So that's when he starts making those wooden darts because he's not going to get a gun. He never uses one in the movie. So he makes these darts instead in case he comes up against somebody who has a gun. And he could disable their gun hand with a dart. So he gets a hold of a gun like two times and throws both of them away.
Yeah.
Pretty
His
smart.
fists are his weapons.
There's a Jet Li movie. Was it Eye of the Dragon?
Kiss of the Dragon?
Kiss of the Dragon, where he's trying not to use guns that much in that film. And he uses the poisons.
Yeah, his needles.
Herbs, excuse me.
Well, his needles are acupuncture needles, and he knows places to put them that don't heal you, that kill you. That's that bracelet he wears. It's full of acupuncture needles.
Thank you. Oh, wow. I came back at the right time. Wow, he looks flustered.
Yeah.
Hey, jeez. Oh, he gave it a slip too? Wow. Look at that. And this is during the PG times.
Yeah.
Where's Handy Randy?
Man.
He must be feeling this. He must definitely.
Mad Mardigan wishes he was here. So does Az.
Well, if you think about it, there's only I think 5 girls in this movie. There's Italian lady, there's Mrs. Chen, and there's 3 customers worth of women. This is right up
It's
Mardigan's
5 more than
alley.
Mad ones.
Matt, you should be getting a rising tingle. Not tinkle, tingle. I said tinkle. You should be getting a rising tinkle from this, Matt. This is, especially with the way these guys go with their shirt. Oh, I'm on cloud 9. Oh, seriously. There's
looks
no
like
way
they're all getting naked.
he has to be a bit stiff from this.
I don't know if it's gay unless you make eye contact while there's the blowjob. The blowjob's not that gay.
Yeah, disagree.
I think where I'm at in life, I probably wouldn't disagree with him.
I'm gonna say that it is gay, but just freaking own it, dude, bro. Just own it. I'm sure Rob Halford would. He would, but yeah, it is. But you know what? I'm good. That's how Rob Halford would.
Have you gentlemen reviewed The Last Dragon yet?
I've not talked about. I don't know. Would that fit within our Toxic Tuesday confines or no? I just
I think Show Enough would. I don't think Bruce Leroy would fit well within the Toxic Tuesday, but I think Show Enough would definitely fit within the Toxic Tuesday purview.
Show Enough. You're at the give me more there. Give me more there to go
I
off.
would consider The Last Dragon would fit. I think
You
it
think
fits.
so?
Yeah, I mean, it's more. It's got a lot of comedy in it, but we've had comedies. I mean, it's pretty good. I think it fits. It's 85, so it's not like it's late. Not like it's a 90s or a 2000s, and we've had those anyway. So I would say we could put it on the list. It's a cult movie.
Oh, well, all the more reason because lately we've been doing a little bit of a lesser known outlet of movies. So I'm absolutely down for more like lesser known. So
So this is a B movie Bond villain set here.
Oh, yes. Dude, their place is really nice. As 60s as it looks, look at that. I want that couch right there, the leather seat right there to the left. I'd like to own that.
Mid-campaign villain, I think.
Yeah.
Everything about the henchmen looks so unintimidating. They just basically all have mustaches. But they have none of the twirls that come with the stash.
Yeah, now,
all
the 70s is right. They all look like they all look like either band members that nobody remembers the name of or roadies.
Yeah. Well, the guys at the back were in Chicago, I'm pretty sure. So you notice how much better desks look then without computers on them.
Yes.
Although they did have the two pens which would poke your eyes out if you fell asleep, of course. But,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Oh, that weasel! That grin too, dude. Yeah. Oh, this guy.
I that hat and that hair right there gave me a hint when I was watching this. This is Harpo Marx if he had a Chinese parent.
Oh, what? Oh, jeez. Oh, and there's see that now. That's a shot from Mad. That's a shot designed for Mad. He gets the full front right there.
You know,
Randy, you better be. You must be seriously like. You must be juicing.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I think that Bruce is right. The Last Dragon would be great to do, especially as it would bring a bit of diversity to the show.
All right, watch this here.
Already has this.
Yeah.
This, I don't know if this guy is like, he's not like a big, like a bodybuilder, but this dude is like peak human performance. He's like perfect human specimen.
Yes.
Like, you know, his secret was developing real world power.
Yes.
He would be doing chest flies and leg lifts at the same time on the floor, not on a bench. So his son Brandon could get up and jump on his stomach. And he was trying to control the dumbbells doing flies and keep his legs elevated the whole time. He was doing real actual muscle activation. He wasn't doing this. You do 3 sets of 10 and then we just put it all down. No.
He's found his favorite painting in the building.
He's a bit nonplussed actually looking at that. Mrs. Redshirt, when he flexes again, and I think if you got the clip, it's from the front, you see his pectoral muscles and that triangular chest. She said, he looks like a snake. One of those, I said, a hooded cobra? She said, yes. I said, yeah, he's about as fast as one, too.
He's not impressed with the food. She's not a very good cook.
Apparently not.
No, I like how he's so honest about it right away. He's so blunt about it. I've had better at home. I've had better at home.
She just offered him something.
You made it.
I saw a review of this a while back, which suggested that he's actually modeling some of this movie on Buster Keaton. with the
Really?
comedic parts of it, and some of the
Really?
stunt work, and just some of the reactions.
Yep.
Mhm.
Bruce Lee was a bit of a student of old Hollywood, so he's incorporated a little bit of that slapstick and humor in it here and there.
He certainly wasn't imitating Charlie Chaplin.
No.
He's got the stunt work for Buster Keaton for
It's more
sure.
Keaton and some of
Yeah.
the reaction stuff, and it's
Yes. And Keaton was very good at looking surprised.
yes, yeah.
That was about the only expression he ever got besides the great stone face was shock.
It's just shock, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you like the food?
Leave tip.
That was the perfect timing expression. I realized too with the setting that we're saying, we have had 2 movies that have come out this year where we have seen a lot of these settings with John Wick Chapter 4 and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
Yes.
We have seen a lot of Italy lately within
we've seen
movies.
We've seen a lot of movies that have car chases around big traffic circles in the middle of major European capitals.
It's a perfect area for a chase scene. Bruce Lee would have been the chase in this if he had chose to have done a chase scene. He would have chased the car. That's what he would have done. Same with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris would have been the that would have been the chase scene.
Like he didn't use guns. He
they
wouldn't
don't
have
need no cars.
He wouldn't have used a car. No, car chase without a car.
And
now watching this fountain, he's thinking, I wonder where the toilet is.
Look at a guy to the right. He's the one who's wondering. He's got his.
He's like, oh God, I really need the
that
toilet.
guy's hands were there. His hands were in position. He is
really
clenching.
need the toilet now.
That would be a
that
terrible
guy to the
walk if you
right.
did have to
Those
see
tight,
those.
held up red pants right there. That guy was clenching right there. He's got his pants held up high. He was.
It was a great year for corduroy.
Yeah.
Oh God, I need toilet. I need toilet.
And when she asks him, she shows him this entire monument and says, "What do you think?" He says, "I think it's a waste. I'd build on it and make money." Which is the most quintessential Hong Kong statement about a Roman ruin I can imagine.
Let's get rid of this old shit and just
bulldoze this crap, build a shopping center, we'll both be rich.
You could get a 600-floor apartment building on this.
Right.
Here we go.
DeVito's comment here about the dumpling of yeah, but let's not forget to in the movie he asked where he could also go get one too. Earlier in the movie, he asked about purchasing one, and and then she says, "Oh yeah, anyone can get one." I thought to myself, "Wow, that's something I never thought about. No one watch it as a teenager, but watch it now. When you said anyone could get one, I thought about wow." How much has changed from then to now as far as the rules of owning one? From anyone can get one to, well, we have now all our policies and rules and regulations, yada, 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 yada. I'm like, wow.
You mean about, you said at the beginning, there's not many sets in this movie. There's like 4 sets that they use, 4 stages. And then the odd exterior, just like they had earlier, to show that they're in Rome. But generally speaking, it's a fairly closed movie in terms of production sets.
Yep.
But you don't notice it really.
No, you don't. No, I've never noticed it until Nick mentioned it before.
But it makes sense because this doesn't need to be like something where it needs like add several different things. I mean, I guess you could count the roof of when the guy was trying to shoot. But that was just still basically just across the street, like from Mrs. Chen's place. I mean,
right.
I don't really count that as an additional setting. I guess technically you could say that is, but no. I mean, they made good with the locations that they had, and this is very tightly made. And every scene, at least I feel like, despite all the weirdness and kookiness and holy fupa, dude, look at the guy to the right in the red tank top.
Yeah, he's in shape.
Yeah.
Name this band.
That's Danny Aiello's muscular.
This is a metal band.
This is Earth, Wind, and Fire. If they were metal.
Yeah, and the guy in the red shirt is Earth.
Yeah,
it's like
wow.
And our hero is up to the task.
That's
and it was
It's like Manowar before they started working out.
Speaking of quarter
That's
black,
right.
did you guys see the TSQL documentary?
No, enlighten us.
Well, oh God, I hope I don't get this banned, but no, they have a mockumentary,
Just
like a
work around
34
it.
to 30. And you remember the football game you played in the churchyard where you gave somebody the football and then you smeared them?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
this
we
could
played
be
that in
before my
school, but
time.
don't say don't say what it was really called.
No,
Yeah,
no, don't.
STQ League. It's 9 minutes of STQ League mockumentary, and you're gonna be dying laughing. They just put it out like 3 days ago. I'll put it in Gilded. It's so good. Quarter
Okay.
Black just knocked it out of the park.
All for his normal world?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I have to watch. Okay. If Quarter Black is, if he's involved, yeah, I have to watch that. I definitely have to. That is,
him and
wow.
Lando are perfect on this.
No, those two dudes together are a very perfect combination. They're straight up a match made like type of situation. I remember like when he was involved with LWC. I remember talking to him at the Vegas Mayhem, and he always told me like, dude, I love working with Dave. He was always speaking very fondly of him. So that I'm so glad that they're together doing their thing and they're having fun with it too. They're absolutely killing it. Anyway,
There was a really subtly funny bit in this fight scene. The heavyset guy with the beard keeps telling the henchman, "You go next. You go next. You go next." That's why he's the last one left. He made all the other guys go first.
He's a good band leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the last remaining member of the original group.
Yep.
You know, he could just volunteer to go in first, taking the hit first, and then be out first and just gotten over it. But nope, he had to prolong his inevitable misery. He's like, "Oh, fine." Nope, I'm fine.
The other funny one, just before this bit, the guy, the heavyset guy, picked up one of the pairs of nunchucks that Bruce dropped, and Bruce kind of stands back and looks and goes, "Okay, let's see what you can do with that." And he's holding it under one of them is under his arm, and the other one is in his hand. And he changes hands, and he changes back because he can't decide how to use the thing. And Bruce just nods at him like he faints at him, and he snaps the nunchuck out, trying to hit Bruce with it, and it smacks him right in the top of the head, and he practically knocks himself out. And Bruce just laughs at him. And I had just told Mrs. Redshirt, I don't know why those things are illegal, because they're more of to 99% of the people who try them, they're more of a danger to the user than anyone else. And at that moment, the guy whopped himself in the head with the nunchuck.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
You know, I've always wondered watching this movie. I'd always love to see if there was real records in that jukebox and what they were. I'd love to go up and look at that and see what's in it. I mean, it's got writing on them, so there's something in there. Yeah,
I wonder what's in that jukebox too. I did think about
that. It's a Chinese restaurant.
That the music heads here thought about the jukebox.
It's a Chinese
I
restaurant in Rome in 1971. I can't think what the mixture of music would be in that jukebox.
No.
It would have been very smooth, sophisticated American sound too. That would have been a mixture of the two, that's for sure.
It could have had anything. It's probably all Dean Martin records.
Oh yeah. It could have been strictly, yeah. It could have been one of those guys, the Sinatras, the Joneses of the world. Yeah,
Herb
it definitely
Alpert.
could have been.
5 to Midnight.
Yeah.
Herb Alpert.
2 minutes
I watched
midnight.
a really good documentary about Herb Alpert the other day. It's quite interesting.
Oh.
Didn't realize he'd sold so many records.
Oh, I had to listen to all of them.
Oh, God.
Here's our boy.
He brought us A&M records and a lot of great acts on A&M, so he did good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he did good.
He atoned.
Dude,
this guy has a terrible shot. This guy, it's almost good Dustin's not here because he would be shredding on this guy. This guy had it so easy. And he obviously, if you do it, the movie's over because it's the main character. But still, like this is
bad guys can't shoot.
This is Stormtrooper. This is basically just like he's basically just being a Stormtrooper or the Stormtrooper parody because obviously they've beaten the joke to death with Star Wars, the Stormtroopers and the incompetence of shooting. But man, this is Stormtrooper incompetence before Stormtrooper incompetence because he had it so good. At least in like other action movies, there was always that close moment. There's a moment of tension. This guy had it so easy, and still he could not come close to hitting the damn
finish.
mark.
Could he?
Yeah, that guy got a bit part as a thug on the A-Team on the strength of this performance.
Wow.
Not being able to hit with a scoped rifle. Right.
Show me a barn door and I'll miss it.
Hit from the inside.
Oh, dude. Oh, Bruce.
But it's true. If the sniper was any good, the movie's over. So.
Yes.
Yeah. And then of course that I guess you could say maybe make an accusation that this is a plot armor moment.
Terrible grouping there. That's not a good grouping.
I'm not familiar with all the terminology. Is that something to do with the shot?
Yeah,
that's how close the holes are together.
They're not very close
because they're not very close together.
That did not sound any better. We said that the holes are together.
Unless you decided he wanted to spread them. Yeah.
Are you talking about the bonus one?
The bonus hole.
The bonus hole. Yeah. So this is where
that was one shot and 5 bonus holes.
He's going to defeat the bad guy with a toothpick.
Yes.
Basically, a John Wick technique before John Wick.
Yep.
What do you mean delivery is closed? I'm hungry.
Handy Randy, that's your job. You are the one who has the gaps to fill. Who are you to speak, Handy? Just saying. Got a big old Bond villain here. Oh no, it's Weasel. I still don't even know Weasel's name to this day. To me, I've always just kept him as Weasel. Because he is. He looks it. He acts like it. I mean, I guess you could say the actor does put on a decent performance because he really succeeds in making you hate how weaselly he is.
Yep.
Bastard. Straight up.
Yeah.
So
we didn't get
all the. Go ahead, Redshirt.
We didn't get a martial arts film character that we love to hate as much as him until Chun-Li showed up in I think it was in Enter the Dragon.
Hmm.
And then he became the main opposition in Bloodsport. So that guy, I have never seen him in a movie where he was not unlikable in the first 10 seconds.
Hang on.
You know what? You might be right. What'd you find? I see your expression 70.
I've got a
what
more.
Did you do?
I think there's a more unlikable villain.
Who? Tell me. Tell me.
If I can find it.
Okay, well, meanwhile.
Oh yeah, I found it. Here we go.
All right, slide in.
I was thinking maybe Tim Roth from Rob Roy.
Take him to Detroit. No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
That guy was pure evil, pure concentrated
Detroit.
evil.
No, not Detroit. Which sadly, I could see that way be happening in Illinois with not Chirac. No.
That's the most evil villain in the film in film history.
What a heinous act.
That's a fistful of yen in Kentucky Fried Movie.
Okay.
I
It's
have no
just
words for
classic.
that.
It's a 15-minute spoof of Enter the Dragon, basically.
I'm just gonna say that was ridiculous. And yes, I know Detroit is bad. So basically, he's basically saying, "No, don't take me to RoboCop before RoboCop."
Right.
Look, see, guys, Bruce Lee doesn't get all the action. Even his boys, his crew, they get in on some of the action.
Damn right, he's been training them.
Yeah, right. They better. Otherwise, this would make it look all worse. They're all getting done and nothing's coming to use. Dude, when you had that one shot of Mr. Lee, man, he was so freaking shredded. Like it's so crazy.
That's right.
Like
Smiley.
seriously, he looks like, even though he's not a big, Dustin mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I just like you see him like he's not a big man in terms of like a monstrous behemoth, but it's just like he looks like he's just like a freaking made of steel. Like, geez.
He's gonna be
looked
what,
unbreakable
4%
in
body
this.
fat, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So
He
no
was-
pizza ever for Bruce Lee. No pizza
No.
ever.
Smilex is killing it in the chat. Yes, he is rough and toothless. That was the description of the villain in Fistful of Yen. He's rough and toothless.
Interestingly, they shot RoboCop in Texas.
Yeah, in Dallas.
In Detroit.
In Dallas, yeah. So this guy, what we don't know is that this guy's actually holding the setup. That's why he's scared to move.
Hey, they're
Bruce
trying to be
agrees.
efficient and save money. They're trying to think about the budget. Oh, Mark, no.
No, God,
Oh,
no.
Mark. Oh, why? I didn't do anything.
That's just
to
rude.
you. Yes, thank you. It's
You
just
don't want to make me
plain
angry.
bloody rude. Except him, he's like, you better play nice. Otherwise, I kick your ass. Meh.
I love the phone fax combination there, or whatever it is. It's a phone, but maybe
Oh,
it's a
that
fax
giant
phone.
landline, dude.
Yeah.
That thing is huge.
It's
That's
huge,
a
exactly. It's like
computer.
not a normal.
But it's like one of those Mattel phones that also plays the Mattel football.
All right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Look
got
at
buttons
all
on it.
the-
Oh,
all
it's
the
got a lot of buttons. It's
different
obviously
lines.
a switchboard too. Yeah.
Seriously, it's a huge.
But yeah, those pens right there are lethal. Honestly, because
This-
yeah,
The man you just saw now will kill you. You. Oh my! I can't believe I freaking. I
I
lost.
love the
clip.
suits
No.
in this movie.
Go ahead.
The suits in this movie just are so good.
oh,
I
no,
love
look
the-
at this.
I love the suits.
This is pure polyester.
Ooh.
Well, actually, in Hong Kong, they were actually probably made of silk because they didn't cost that
Yeah.
much.
And in it, and if it's meant to be in Italy, they should all have great suits.
Yes, they should.
They
It's,
should. But they celebrate the New Year. Everyone's happy.
Mhm.
Hold on. They celebrate New Year.
We love
Everyone
you.
is.
I love
happy.
you a long time.
I love you. Long
And-
time.
And this is his bonus, 20 lira.
And
You
no
get an
hole
extra cookie.
necessary.
They've got some great. Bruce is right. Look at the suits in this. Brilliant. Brilliant suits.
Dude, they got some class.
Every one of them is different as well.
Yeah, look at that. Even their outfits had diversity. Look,
That's the
oh,
Chinese
man,
Mick Jagger.
dude,
That's the
look
Chinese
at his
Mick Jagger.
eyes. He looks like he just saw Dolph Lundgren naked.
Telling you, that's,
Seriously.
that's Mick Jagger.
He looks like a Kennedy.
It's the Chinese Mick Jagger right there.
He looks like a Kennedy with those teeth.
Oh, that is so weird.
We're getting
Huge.
Call this a bonus. Call this a bonus.
They-
What the fuck is this?
Mark, thank
Jello
you for that
of the
clip,
Month
Mark.
Club.
It's a telegram from Hong Kong. We've knocked down your apartment building and built an even bigger one on top of it.
Well, this is where they set him up. Like, hey, we need you to get into a car with us. We're not gonna diddle
Mhm.
you. We just want you to come with us because they called up for the American. And what a perfect name. Once again, Chuck Norris has another great character with a
Oh,
great name. As his name is Colt.
Cool.
Colt.
And the funny thing is, he isn't 45 in this movie, so
No,
he's
he
nowhere
was
near
young,
that. So
man.
he's not a Colt 45, obviously.
He didn't even have a beard. Once upon a time, folks, little do you know or remember.
Here he
Chuck,
comes.
oh, look at that.
There it
dude.
is.
He has got the
Oh.
rug though. He has got the chest rug.
Minus
God, yeah.
50 Chinese social credit. No denim on Norris.
That's right. He is cheese
Come
cooks
on.
going right now.
No anaconda tight pants to hold him down.
There we go.
Oh,
The
but we
close-up.
get a nice shot.
He just looks like he looks like such an asshole without a beard.
He does.
He's meant to in this one. He's meant to look like
It's
an
funny
actor.
how they as before transitions to next thing, it zooms in on his crotch.
But not
They-
for
they
long.
Made him
because
bulk up a bit for this movie.
Yeah. He
What-
looked overweight. Mrs. Redshirt mentioned it. She said,
Okay.
he
Yeah,
looks
he did.
overweight. I said, that's in comparison to Bruce Lee.
So Creedence
Yeah.
Clearwater Revival have appeared. That's
Oh, Chicks Bears is the source of his power. Yeah. Oh, yes. I know. This was our boy here, Colt. The Colt. Yeah, it's Colt 69.
So is this the only movie where Chuck Norris is the quote unquote bad guy?
I think it
Only
must
one
be.
other.
Is there
The
one
next
other?
2 years later, he did a movie. I've never heard of it. I had to look this up, but he refused to do another movie with Bruce Lee. He told Bruce Lee before this movie, this will be the only one I do with you because I want to be a hero. I don't want to have to lose to you in movies.
Hmm.
Also,
So
he
this
doesn't
is a
want to
one-off.
lose at all.
Yeah,
Well, he didn't.
this
There
is
was
a
no way
one-off.
he's going to make another movie with him anyway.
No. He was offered a part. No, Norris was offered a specific part in Enter the Dragon, and he turned it down.
I can't think
You
of I can't think of any other movie he played a baddie. I can't think of it if he did.
And
There
he
was-
doesn't
yeah.
want to lose. Let's just be real
He
here.
played a
He
serial
doesn't want to
killer.
have a movie where he loses.
He played a serial
Let's-
killer.
Chuck Norris played a serial killer in 74.
That's so
And
weird
that's
to
the movie
think
that
about.
Red Shirt's talking about.
I can't imagine like besides this, yeah, I don't see him being. It's hard for me to imagine him being a serial killer. That seems way against his forte.
Is
You know
it
what?
this?
Andy's got a good point. Technically, he's in a way, yeah, he was a hired hand to get a job done. So for all we know, he may have been like praised maybe in his home country. We could leave that up to the audience to decide. Was he like a good guy in his home country? Obviously being American. So was he like the celebrated icon that we'll never know about? Yeah, it definitely makes me wonder. But I do know that Chuck Norris eats coal and shits diamonds. That is, wow. That's impressive.
I'm trying to think of the movie he played a serial killer in.
Because I figured this would be the only working with Chuck, working with Bruce Lee at least the one time would be the only reason he would want to be the bad guy, just to work with Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah, they had tremendous respect for each other. That was definitely documented that there was respect and admiration for each other, and that's cool to think. Like, damn, dude, Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris were just like, hey, bro, what's up? And they're cool with each other. I like that.
They trained together before they did this movie. They had met, and they knew each other outside of movies, and that's part of the reason that Bruce Lee wanted Chuck Norris as the final villain in this movie. And if I remember, this is going back a long way, so my memory on this has got to be suspect. But I think I remember Chuck Norris saying in an interview after this movie came out that he really appreciated when Bruce wrote the choreography for his scene with him, that Bruce let him hit him. He said, because I couldn't have even pretended to land a creditable blow on Bruce Lee if he hadn't wanted me to. I couldn't have even have faked it. So he had enormous respect for Bruce Lee as a martial artist. And, he basically stopped competing in the World Karate Championships because he won it so many times in a row. He just went, fine. I don't need to prove anything else. I walked away from it. That's what I've heard. But yeah, Bruce Lee in this, and he in this. He was one of the few people at the time who could creditably give Bruce Lee a fight that would be the climax of the movie. And Norris appreciated it. He really did. But he didn't want to lose to Bruce Lee in any more movies.
That losing, it gets old as shite. But yeah, we got our final fight. He's trying to lure him away. So there's like, okay, he's taking out all our guys. So now we're going to try to get to him with the big gun. And they try to lure them in. And obviously, doesn't work because it's freaking Bruce Lee. Now, a lot of people don't know, like, the stuff that they apparently so I don't know if there's any merit to this, but apparently a lot of the scenes with the big final fight between Colt and Bruce Lee, because I'm just gonna say Bruce Lee, apparently those scenes were illegally shot. I don't know if they got fined for that or if that's just a myth.
They didn't stick around. They'd film the shot real quick and then run out beyond the boundary of where you weren't supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get towels, you know, make sure everything was all right. You good? I'm good. And then they'd run back in. All right, we'll do this again tomorrow. And they didn't do that many shots inside the Coliseum itself.
Mm-hmm. And then we forgot to mention another thing too. And I believe this part, the entire film was shot without sound.
Correct. They all did ADR.
RJ with the comic book analysis here. I love that contrast. The movie is Shang-Chi versus Iron Fist. Wow. And that would make sense because obviously for those who are not in the know, when Marvel's trying to capitalize on the whole like martial arts exploitation going on and the whole craze around it, they decided to make Shang-Chi and they just made him look like Bruce Lee because they're like, hey, we'll just call him Shang-Chi. And he looks just like Bruce Lee. And they had a comic, which I know a few of you, maybe Steve Mitchell will know in the chat, was called The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. So yes, there were way old school Shang-Chi comics, and some of them good luck finding some of the copies. I don't know how much of it's available digitally, but there's definitely a lot of stuff that would be considered problematic from it. And I know Soichi himself, Simu Liu, said he wouldn't sign some of those old Shang-Chi comics because apparently a lot of them really offended his feelings. Fucking
what a
Ken
prick!
doll.
What a prick!
What a Ken doll!
Total prick.
Character wouldn't have a movie without that character existing.
Ken doll works pretty well because, like, if you ever like Ken doll's got no dick.
Yeah. Well worded, Bruce. Well worded. Steve's here. Bruce Lee was so fast that the cameraman entered the Dre at the ketone and slow down because the character could. I think that's the beauty because he could actually do that, and that's a freaking nature, man. No cheat day. He had to have been. He had no cheat days. He had to have had the most routine-based life ever. Bruce, Norris doesn't. I like the shot. It's weird seeing without the shades now and no beard. He doesn't say many words in this movie. It's like what, less than 10 words?
I don't think he says any.
Maybe he doesn't say even any. You might be right.
But the thing about, I'll just mention this about Bruce Lee with his speed and camera. Bruce Lee, as part of his martial arts, because he invented his own martial art and he was inventive. And he decided that the way for him at his size and stature to get power in his martial art was to develop what are called the twitch muscles. And the twitch muscles are the ones where if you're almost asleep and your whole body just basically tries to levitate out of the bed, do you know what I'm talking about? When you get like a sleep terror? That's the twitch muscles going off involuntarily. Most people can't use them because they're involuntary. Bruce Lee trained himself to use them by constant repetition and effort. And he had a famous claim that he could knock a man down with a punch from 1 inch away. And people would come to his demonstrations and, this big strapping 270-pound guy would step up and, okay, I'm ready. And Bruce would just put his fist 1 inch from the guy's chest, punch, and the guy'd fall over. And it worked. It wasn't a bullshit claim. It was real. He could do it. And it was because he developed full muscle speed within an inch.
I like this shot.
Yes.
Within an inch.
Yes.
No. This is actually a badass. I love this fight scene. I love this a lot. Seeing these two, it's just like it feels like a heavy thing. Like holy crap, this is like straight up. This is the Clash of the Titans. And dude, he has shoulder pads. He even has like a neck pad of hair on his.
They should have let him play Chewbacca. He wouldn't have needed to put a suit on.
Bruce Lee would have gotten canceled for this movie because during this fight, Bruce Lee gropes his chest hair one time, and you get like some blood marks on his, because obviously that's your chest hair getting straight up, and then he drops, and then he lets his hand go, and you just see a bunch of hairs falling down.
Yep.
Oh, and dude, they do their stretches for and like their warm ups for like a few minutes to get mad all hot.
Yeah. Mrs. Richard disagrees with Screen Rant and me. Screen Rant had the list of the 5 best and 5 worst fight scenes in Chuck Norris films. This is number 1. I agree. Mrs. Richard doesn't think so. But maybe that's because Chuck loses.
Yeah, that is. It's almost unfortunate because
he's trying to get his Ron Jeremy on, dude.
There's something a bit weird about this show.
I can't. I would believe that if he was Cavatino. The thing is, with once again, it was all about that was a big thing at the time. These guys were breaking it big, and he may have been a fan. I would believe that was the case, whether it was him or one of the other creators, because obviously at this point in time, he was definitely a lot more salesman like. So he was, he was there to a very small extent as far as creative involvement. He was definitely more salesman at that time. But yeah, I could see him definitely be like, hey, you know what? We should do this. Well, that sounds like what a salesman would do. So yeah, he probably was at least involved with that. Even if he didn't invent everything like he goes on about. Oh, there is. See, there's the grope right there. There's the grope. And he looks
all he needed to do was
does Handy Randy get excited about that scene, I wonder?
Tell us, Handy, do you like your men with or without the hair?
This is where Bruce slaps him with his dick right there. You can't see it, but
a good old Japapaning.
Yeah, Chuck should have been in Star Wars as Chewbacca. They wouldn't have needed a costume. He's got so much hair on him.
70s. Isn't the music from this part from Once Upon a Time in the West?
Oh, it could be, mate. Yeah, you might be right there. Now that I think about it, I didn't. I don't know if I've ever thought about that. You could be absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'd have to play it. I'll play it again after the show.
Yeah, where the way
I thought there's some Nico Morricone in this.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, mate. I wouldn't be surprised.
Now with this fight, what's funny? Like as you can see, Colt starts to get really worn down, and he still keeps trying until he can't take no more.
His body's
you
failed.
Get a twist that happens with the restaurant owner, dude. What happened there? I didn't understand that as a kid. I was like, what is this guy doing? Your restaurant's being fought for, and now you turn your back on everything, all that progress, and now you blow it away?
Well, he wanted to sell it to the mobsters. They were going to pay. He may have believed they were going to pay him. They may have just taken him away and killed him. But he believed that they were going to pay him handsomely for it. So he could just take the payoff from the mob, go back to Hong Kong as a rich man, and to hell with all the employees and
yeah,
his
because
niece.
he had his family back there. Yeah,
right. He had the rest of his family back there. He wanted a big payoff. He's like, I worked hard all of my life and I have nothing to show for it except one restaurant in Rome.
He's got it is.
I mean, it's a great twist. I thought because it solves the other two, takes the other two guys out of the fight completely. Right then and there.
And he sells Bruce Lee on the idea that he may have been hurt by them when really he hurt himself.
Bruce, I think, is right. I mean, I didn't realize it, but there is a theme for Chuck Norris in this, and it isn't an Ennio Morricone piece of music, so it could have been reused. It's Colt's theme, it's called. I didn't realize it was on the soundtrack. I thought they were all by another guy. I'm not a big, I'm not like Tom Connors who knows all the soundtrack stuff. But yeah, I think Bruce is right. It's the same piece of music. Chuck
RJ Godzilla says, Nick Weiser, it's interesting how Bruce is in black and Chuck is in white, like the whole yin and yang thing. If you notice, everybody, a lot of the people in the restaurant on the New Year's were wearing red, which is the color of purity in China, if I remember correctly. Brides wear red dresses to their weddings, not white. You wear white to a funeral in China. So the question with the black versus white, which the Americans go, the black hat, the white hat, the guy in white is the good guy. The Chinese would probably see it exactly the reverse.
Yes.
And it was made in Hong Kong. So it's probably Hong Kong choice of colors. Basically, what they're saying with his gi is that this guy's going to his funeral.
This is too painful. We can't see Chuck
Dude,
like this. It's
he
too
keeps,
painful.
I mean, in a normal story, this would be like, oh wow, what a hero. He's getting back up and still fighting. Like he's still trying, he's in a way, he's kind of an underdog in that regard. But it's just like, Chuck, you gotta let go, man. This guy's got you. He's freaking got you. And I'll give credit. Like he really, like early on, he not only puts up a fight, he did manage to get him to bleed. He did get Bruce to bleed a little.
Well, yeah, because Bruce was using kung fu at the start, and then after Bruce realized how to beat him to use TKD, that was when he became unstoppable.
Quick shot of pussy.
And at one point, when right after the switch, right after Bruce Lee switches, and he kicks Colt. Colt goes down. Mrs. Richards said, "You can't fall down like that, you pussy!" And she went, "Oh my God, I just called Chuck Norris a pussy." And I said, "I'll make sure there are lots of flowers at your funeral."
So
Chuck wouldn't hit a woman.
Even when getting beaten, Chuck Norris is still the best in the world at it.
Yeah, he brought his clothes back to him. That's why I was like, oh, what a nice guy. What a good sport. He brought his clothes to him, even though he might be dead. He decided, I'm just gonna put this
it's a
on
sign
here.
of respect.
Hey, you love
yes,
this.
exactly.
Yes.
And Norris, he wanted, you could see in his face, he was trying to, without saying it, he was trying to get he was trying to get Norris to just, sort of somebody else in a more wise ass movie would have said, why don't you just lie there and bleed a while? But he doesn't say that. But he doesn't look happy when Chuck finally gets up the last time, and he looks absolutely like he's in agony when he kills Chuck. He didn't want to do it, and he doesn't, and he's very unhappy about it here. And that's when he goes, "Now I need to deal with the people that put me in this situation." There's a lot of respect for each other in this scene and in the fight. There's a huge amount of respect, even though they know that they have to fight to the death.
It's a great fight scene with the contrasting styles and switches of styles and the respect shown at the end. It's fantastic. It's not just hey, I kicked the guy's ass and I'm gleeful about it.
It's not like it's as they said in Remo Williams. It's not chopsaki.
Yeah,
he says, "You're going to teach her that chopsaki stuff." No, this.
And now comes the car chase scene.
Yes,
dude. You don't get to play Bruce. Sorry, Mr. Restaurant Man, but you don't get to play Bruce. I understand you're stressed and you want to get back home. You want money, but you should have just stuck it out. Even though, yes, Richard, you're right in why he did what he did. It does make sense, but bro, you should trusted in Bruce Lee. He would have handled it. Yeah, it would have been a mountain to climb. And guess what he was doing for him? He was climbing that damn mountain. Basically, like a lot of movies we've been covering lately, especially in the can department, where it's a domino effect. You got to get rid of the guys one by one by one. That's what Lee was trying to do. He had a chance, but he screwed himself at the end, ultimately, more than he did Bruce Lee. He hurt himself more.
Yes. And it turned out that the guy who was supposed to be paying him for his restaurant shot him.
Bastard.
So the chances of him actually having retired to Hong Kong, a rich man, are probably pretty slim.
Yeah, he screwed his chances. Like, bro, you were so close. He was Bruce Lee was in video game mode where he's in the final boss battle. He got out and you blew it. Come on, bro. You ruined your own.
Uncle Wang was a real wanker, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
But it was the Italian lady who got the Bruce Wang. So no Wang for you. Just saying, no Wang. for you. And yet, and we'll never know what's become of the restaurant because it's safe to say he pretty much owned it. And wiping wow, Colt Chuck Norris, changing qua, norm wow. Hold on, what was that? Can you go back to that again? Cheng Chung Hua, normal. Okay, so now I'm just gonna ask all you dudes here on the panel. Dustin, what do you think became of the restaurant in your imaginative world? What became of the restaurant?
I imagine she would go back and continue running it because she was taking care of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, I mean, I hope they had some good General Tso chicken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a Chinese restaurant, was it not? I don't even know.
Probably.
I
don't know. I mean, it's Italy. I mean, who goes to Italy to eat Chinese food?
I've been to an Indian restaurant.
Well, I think
in Italy,
that's why.
and it was still serving Italian stuff as well as Indian stuff.
I mean, think about that. I mean, I get what you're saying, Dustin, by that logic, and that is logical. But I'd actually argue in the defense that makes sense because especially if you're living in Italy and you want maybe a little bit of a change for a meal. Why not have a Chinese restaurant? Obviously, we don't know for sure that's what it is, but assuming that it is for conversation's sake, it would make a lot of sense to me to have that there.
Because you would think that, Nick, you're a true Illinois, Chicago area person, and you don't eat deep dish pizza.
I actually like deep dish. I like deep dish.
Nick can't handle it deep.
You about ready to have a stroke over here.
70s.
No, so I think the restaurant's probably now a Starbucks, but
yeah. Oh, how depressing.
She went back and opened the girl went back and opened a Starbucks franchise, and I just think the uncle. I hear what Richard's saying, but the Uncle Wang there killing his only his staff members is just ridiculous.
Oh, all of it. It's all ridiculous. I love D. So, okay, chat. I want to see in your scores toxicity and greatness on the way of the dragon. Okay. And yes, I do enjoy deep dish pizza. It's just not Chicago pizza, but really good pizza nonetheless. And I will stand by that. And believe me, there's a lot of people in Illinois and Chicago for some reason. They love to hate deep dish, which I don't understand because to me, good is damn bloody.
Well, you call it tourist pizza. That's what I was getting at.
It is. It's a tourist pizza. It's a good tourist pizza. It's a good tourist attraction. Just because it's a tourist attraction, it doesn't make it bad. I think a lot of people get this idea in their head that if it's a tourist attraction, it's automatically bad. It's not. It's just a tourist thing. It could be good or bad. I personally find it to be good. We
almost had words.
And bugged by the misconception being Chicago. That's all.
Well, now we almost had words, but you rectified
the pizza record is set, straight, and done. That's it.
I don't know I don't know about Rome then or now, but I know that the best Chinese food in the United States tends to come from what are referred to as the Chinatown districts of certain cities. In Boston, Chinatown, with one exception I liked, is almost 100% Cantonese, because that's where the Chinese people emigrated from. West Coast of the United States, out to about Colorado, is Szechuan Chinese, mainly because those are the guys that came here to build the railroad. And when they stayed, if they didn't open another type of business, they opened a restaurant. So you get a lot of Szechuan food in the west side of the United States. You get Cantonese food on the East Coast. And if you can find a Chinatown, you're going to get the most authentic food that you normally are going to get. And it's not impossible that Rome had a little Chinatown quarter.
It would have.
And therefore, a Chinese restaurant would have been de rigueur in a Chinatown quarter. You're not going to go to the Chinatown quarter to get Neapolitan pizza. You wouldn't do it. So it's plausible. It's entirely plausible.
I do like Neapolitan.
We had Chinese restaurants
in
Scotland in the 60s and 70s. Lots of them. So
Okay.
Imagine they'd have them in Italy. Yeah.
The restaurant.
I'm going to read off some scores that we got for those who did score so far. Thank you. Fat Elvis says greatness 10, Leisure Suits 10, Toxicity 5. And Josh Post says greatness equals 8 kicks out of 10, Toxicity 4 out of 10. And then to Nagayan, I don't know about the toxicity for the film, but I love the film all the way for a 10. Woo! Nagayan coming in hot. All right, Bruce, why don't you sound off on your final thoughts on this movie?
Well, I want to go on to the restaurant for just a second. The restaurant stayed in business for about another 7 years, until right about the time where you were being told in the United States to put on your sweater and lower your heating down to 68 during the winter months because just can't afford that. So they went out of business, and then a Chinese developer came along, smashed the building, and now there's a tea house, a Chinese restaurant not ran by young miss, and there's 2 Starbucks at either end of the mini mall, and it's not been good ever since. However, this movie for me, I'm going to rate this movie at a 80, a solid 80 out of 100. This is a really good film. Has a lot of different pieces and moving parts to it, and you get to see Bruce Lee in a lot of different mindsets in this film. And then when you add in the fact that he's also the director and helping out the director of photography, setting up shots, and then getting into the middle of the action as an actor, I have to give it an extra 5 points. So it's actually an 85. Ooh. I give it an 85 out of 100. This is a really good film. I'm going to say for the scenery, for the props, for the costuming, I'd probably give it 9 out of 10 Leisure Suits. And for toxicity, I didn't see enough toxicity. I needed Bruce to get a little bit more banal-minded. He needed to be more Ajax from the Warriors and, just go after that strange wolf. He didn't. I wanted him to go for it because Marisa Lambeau is just amazing. So toxicity is about 5 out of 10, 50 out of 10, or 50 out of 100 for me. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good, man. Appreciate you being honest. Dustin.
Well, I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, the first time I watched it was last night at 3 a.m.
What?
Yeah. I for some reason a lot of these type of movies just never got a lot of play in my house because we only had one TV most of the time growing up, and my mom watched what she wanted to watch. So I'm still playing catch up a lot of times with a lot of these movies, and then in my 20s and such, when I had my own apartment and all that, people would come over and what was on cable or what we would find at the video store or whatever, or buy movies we would see. So I'm still catching up on a lot of stuff. Like it still trips me out when I watch a movie that's pre-77, where the intro, the opening credits are forever. But I think this movie is an overall. I would say this movie is I would say it's a 9 for me. I haven't got a chance to see a lot of kung fu movies. I did like some of the earlier Jackie Chan stuff. I loved Wheels on Meals. If you've ever seen any of those, the older
Wheels
Jackie Chan stuff. Now it's weird that they called it Meals or Wheels on Meals because they couldn't start the movie with an M title or whatever, an M word or whatever. It was weird. Weird, was that superstitious? But yeah, and I agree with a lot of the chat. I didn't see a lot of toxicity in this movie. There's some backstabbing going on. The most toxic thing is he didn't hang out with that nice woman from the beginning. She was trying to show him a good time, and he was just so rude to her. She showed her boobies and everything, and he was like, "Oh, gotta go." I'm like, "That's just rude. That's toxic." She was trying to be so nice and hospitable, and he was like, "Whoop, rude. I'm out of here." So I would probably say this is it's barely a 2 of toxicity. Barely.
Ooh, okay.
I just don't see there's not a lot. There's some literal backstabbing in this movie, which you don't actually see, literal backstabbing. But yeah, I don't think this is a very and I think those leisure suits make up for it too. Those are pretty nice. The dress, like that 70s and the 60s decor. I love it. Takes a long time to catch up to the 70s. It takes a long time to make that avocado green paint.
All right. I'll read some more scores here. And Poker Race had 10 and a 2. I don't know what was for what, but Mark do the C. Greatness 10, Toxicity 5, Chuck Norris's Hairy Chest 10. E. Clay Tomasin 5, Toxicity 8, Greatness 8, Diverse. Oh, he gave it diverse. You know what? He's right. And then TZ Burton, Greatness and Toxic 9. Rob Altus, Toxicity 4. Ooh, overall 8. Boosh McFadden says 8 overall, 5 Chuck Norris jokes out of 10 for Toxicity, 7 for Wetness because of sweat. Facts. I like that. And then Dawes Wolfen, overall 7.5, Toxicity 9. Oakley Vandal, Chuck Norris elevates almost all movies to a 10, with a couple notable exceptions of Missing in Action 3 and Sidekicks.
Rude.
And then RJ Godzilla says Toxicity 4, Fights 9, Comedy 8, Babes 8, total equals awesome. And do we have any more since then? Let's see here. Keely Chow, Toxicity overall 10. JT Kirk, Greatness 8.5, Toxicity 6.9, 69. And then Cavatino says 8.5, Bruce and Chuck Greatness 6.9, 69 out of 10 Toxicity. For topless swayman flexing the muscles, and 10 out of 10 is a fish out of water scenario. And then Jonah Heck says 8 out of 10 Kung Fu grips. And now I'm going to pass it on to Red Shirt.
Okay. Well, I wanted to watch this movie and have this on Toxic Tuesday, mainly because when you were saying we're going to do Chuck Norris, I know Chuck Norris does not spend a lot of time in this movie, but he is a key character in this movie. He is the main and final, like somebody said, he's the last boss battle. And Chuck, Bruce Lee's got to get past Chuck Norris. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to kill him. It hurts him. It's a really good show for his strength and the fact that he's been able to play with everybody else and hurt them, but not kill them, not even probably injure most of them badly. But Chuck Norris, you can't just brush him off. And Bruce Lee wrote it that way, played it that way. He wrote his own character for this, which I think is probably the best character I've seen him in any of his movies. It's my favorite Bruce Lee performance. This is in my top 3 martial arts movies. I don't think it's fair to compare an early 70s Hong Kong martial arts movie to movies in general. So when I'm talking about the greatness, I'm going to say this is greatness as a martial arts movie. And to me, it's a 9.5. If just a little bit more effort had been put into the voice actors for dubbing, because as you said, that was filmed silently, everybody was dubbed. The dubbing is this movie's weakest point. And if they'd been able to make that just a little bit better, this would have been probably a 10, because it's got Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris in it. Bruce Lee wrote it. Bruce Lee directed it. He obviously had an idea of how he wanted a martial arts movie within him in it to work. He'd spent enough time around good directors and cinematographers and in the television and in the work that he had already done. He actually made really good use of the camera. In fact, I don't normally notice that sort of thing. And it wasn't obvious here. I was looking for it. I wanted to know, was this filmed like a backyard barbecue 8mm home movie? Or was it filmed like a movie where you're trying to raise the tensions and create drama? I think it did that. So I love this movie. To me, it's a solid 9.5. Toxicity, I tend to agree with everybody else. It's got the total. He should at least have given a chef's kiss to the nice Italian lady before he left, even if that was all she got. The sweaty guys and the homoeroticism. Yeah, I mean nowadays that's popular. Back then it would have been toxic. And as somebody who actually grew up in and lived through the 1970s, there is nothing more toxic than a polyester leisure suit. I'm sorry, but that's just the case. So that's my score, about a 3. because it gets 3 real maybe toxic elements, but really isn't that much to it. But it's a great movie.
All right. We got Darius Munchausen for the $3 super sticker, and he gives the horns. Thank you, Darius. Hopefully you're having a good night, sir. Thank you very much. And then Juan Carlos Gonzalez Jr., nice to meet you. Welcome to Toxic Tuesday. Says, when Chuck Norris has a barbecue, Canada burns. That's hilarious. All right, 70s. Thank you for your services on what you're doing at the last minute. Even though I said, oh, well, it's fine. We'll just do it like IMDb. You still insist anyways. Thank you. By the way, I appreciate that because you didn't have to, but you did it anyways.
It's
now,
my
go ahead and give out your
superpower.
final thoughts.
Well, Richard stole my thunder entirely. It's not the first time, of course, that he's done that. But so, in terms of toxicity, I was going to say I'm going to give it a 3, and that's only because of the costumes. It's not that toxic a movie at all. I guess you could consider Chuck Norris's body here might be worth an extra point or 2, possibly. I don't know. This is a fabulous movie. It's hard. It's almost seminal. I think. I mean, we say that about a lot of movies, but there's an awful lot of movies homage to this movie.
There was a lot of seminal movies. Seminal was commonplace.
Indeed. Kudos to Bruce Lee for writing, directing, and starring in it. I think he did a bang up job all around. It's incredible when you think of the money this movie made for its pitiful budget, especially adjusted for inflation. I mean, you'd be looking at something like $900 million adjusted for inflation. It's a phenomenal return. Just says a lot about Bruce Lee and about the movie, content of the movie. As a movie, I think I would maybe give it 8.5 out of 10. But for the fight scene between Chuck and Bruce, that is a 100 out of 10. It is one of the best fight scenes ever filmed in any movie of any genre ever. And I don't say that lightly. It is phenomenal. So, but yeah, love it. Great movies. Just something I'll always, I mean, I'm sure I'll watch this movie again in a couple of years and then a couple of years after that. And, I love it.
I do too. And with that said, I'm going to go with a 6 for the toxicity because he either banged a lady for not, but he totally hit it and quit it if he did. Otherwise, I think he ran away and he's that much more of a toxic man. For just saying, nope, I didn't want you. You're not Mad Mardigan. And the fact that him trying to blend into society was absolutely hilarious. Chuck Norris, man, I feel like before his anaconda was the problem to contain, his sideburns were the thing that was hard to contain. And it shows, man, his face is just, he was a mammal. Straight up, he was a mammal. He looked like one of those, what's that movie? 2001 Space Odyssey. He looks like one of those mammals that was going off in that opening scene. Chuck Norris. That's all I think about.
You could have filmed him as a kaiju there if they'd just done the right camera angles.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I'm going to ask you. I want to ask you, Nick, this question real fast because right for what you just said. If you put a little bit more body hair on Chuck Norris and a little bit more facial hair, could he have played Wolverine?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Maybe. I mean, he definitely had the hair for it, and he's definitely not a whole, foot or two taller than Hugh Jackman was. I mean, obviously no disrespect towards Jackman. Obviously has a lot of people's Wolverine, but yeah, I mean, he definitely has the qualifications. He definitely needs to not be a ginger, though. Would he have taking the risk of no longer being a ginger? That would have been my one concern.
Unlike Jackman, Chuck couldn't do Oklahoma, I don't think so.
All right.
Well, he could do Oklahoma, he just couldn't sing it.
Yes. I actually love the overdubbing. I feel like the overdubbing enhances the experience of this movie, and the fact that it was shot in without sound is fantastic. And you can do your own overdubbing in this movie to make it 10 out of 10 toxicity if you wanted to. This movie is open season as far as dubbing is concerned. And of course, all the action is kick ass. Come on, dude. It's Bruce Lee being in action once again. Well, obviously, with him having a little bit more of a behind the scenes role involved. And yes, it's all silly, but it's coherently silly. This movie has a very set story and a lot of things that play out make sense despite how ridiculous it all is. Who would have thought ridiculous and making sense and being coherent could all function together as one family? Well, this movie is proof of what happens when those things work. So, this was a marriage that worked. Straight up. This movie is a marriage that worked. So, quality was, yeah, I'm going to go with 8.5 out of 10 as well. So, quality 8.5, toxicity 6 is my numbers. Oh, also, this gives 11.1 out of 10 chest hairs. 11.1 out of 10 chest hairs. Remember that. Chest hairs.
So he has
With
better
that-
chest hair than. So does he have better chest hair than Sean Connery?
Yes.
Yeah,
James
it's like
Caan used to be
just
the gold
edges it.
standard.
I
The
think he
gold
just
standard.
edges it, yeah.
Yeah, I think Culture Casino, Weave or not, has a lot to learn from Chuck.
Oh, he has a lot to believe about with this one. He has a lot to believe
I'm
about.
a believer. Chuck doesn't
And
need to
Eric
weave it; it
J.
just grows that way.
$5 says the moon is moving away from Earth because it is afraid of Chuck Norris. Oh, that's good. Eric, thank you for the $5, and that was absolutely worth the joke. Seriously, freaking awesome. All right, guys. Well, that is our month of Chuck Norris. That was the way of the dragon, because that's the title me in 70s are that's a hill we will die on. We'll be back in 3 weeks. So, like last summer, there was a small break. We're gonna do it again. We're come back good as new. It will be seeing you in 3 weeks. When we do episode 96, Hard Target. Remember that one. Good old
Hard
John Woo
Target.
classic. Van
do.
Damme. You get a little rest break. This helps Mr. Connors have a longer mead, and it gives us guys to unwind and then revamp for the toxicity, because I'm all about keeping this show special and keeping it that people want this to be a thing that they don't get burnt out of. It's very important that this show is something that people want to see. And the fact that we had another great crowd here, which I thank you all for doing. I want to keep you guys invested, and I want you guys to want this thing. And I don't want you guys ever be like, oh man, I'm so sick of that show. They never slowed it down a bit. This also helps you have a summer vacation too, a little extra if you wanted to. So everyone wins from this. And if someone wants to just watch a long episode of Mead, great. Also, anyways, we've got a few new subs and a few new faces in the chat. I hope you liked what you saw, and I hope you come back for more. And especially in 3 weeks when Toxic Tuesday comes back longer, harder, and stronger in 3 weeks.
If Mad Martigan had been on the show tonight, would we have called it the gay of the dragon, or
he would have been the giggler of the dragon?
the gay of the dragon, perhaps.
We definitely would have liked the giggler,
man. They killed
Yeah,
the giggler. What was that? Oh yeah, Friday night comic show. Oh, hold on, before I go into what they yeah, seriously. Come back if you like what you saw. And for the regulars, thank you for always supporting. And Eric Kane, Darius Munchausen, thank you for the super chats. I do greatly appreciate it. Fellow dudes. And of course, to our wrenches as well. Eric, Darius, thank you for being the wrenches. I do appreciate that. And on my side of the channel, I'm going to let all these guys plug their channels. On my side, I got the Comic Shops Talk Show coming up this Friday night. Final episode of the Spider-Man saga. Oh, if there's a comic book guys in the chat, I did a review on Nemesis Reloaded from Mark Miller and Jorge Jimenez. Go check out that review after the show's over, because it is a comic to be looking out for. And I'll probably have another video out this week as well. You can find me Monday and Thursday Comics Division, Tuesday and Thursday on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Dustin, what do you got coming up?
Today we just did our our third live. We went live at 7:00 Eastern tonight. We talked for about 75 minutes, just kind of discussing kind of where we've been, what's going on, what's coming up next with our channel. We are going to be going live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it gives me a chance to wrap up, clean up, and get ready for this shit. And we've got a whole bunch of content we're going to be filming over the next couple of weeks and putting out for everybody. So if you are at all interested in my channel, Keto Simple, be on the lookout. A lot of cool stuff coming along. And I will be hanging out with 70s along the way, doing stuff on his channel and hopefully getting things together and helping him out with the Rock and Roll Rowdies. I was super bummed I didn't get to join last week. I was invited to hang out with them on their inaugural live on their channel. But family comes first, and the girl was here and didn't leave till 5 minutes after they stopped the stream. So anyway, that's me. I'm super thankful to be a part of this. Everybody in the chat's amazing. Everybody that joins these panels is amazing. You guys are awesome. And I look forward to a little bit of a break and then coming back with Hard Target.
I can already see the comments are all in on the Hard Target. I love it. Chat, this is what I love. I love seeing that enthusiasm. You guys are already getting pumped, and we're a ways away. That's what makes it cool. Dustin, love your contributions to the show. Love your channel, and I hope we can continue this journey on many, many months, years to come. Thank you, sir. Hi, 70s.
Hi. Thank you again, Nick.
For your last minute efforts that you did not have to do.
If I just checked my Twitter feed more often, then I might have seen your request earlier.
We have each other's number now. Now we can get a hold of each other if we need to.
You can always phone me. Yes, call me. We might get together, have some fun. So doing, for those who out there and don't know, I do have a channel. It's That 70s Rock Fan. Actually creeping up every day, I'm up to 1,080 subscribers now. There's a few more every day. It's kind of just, which is good. Yesterday we had a great show on the band Foreigner. Red Shirt joined me for that. Nice. So go back and check that out. It was a lot of fun, actually. We had a lot of fun on that stream. Wilco of the Rock and Roll Rowdies joined because he worked with Foreigner. He road managed for them for a couple of years. So that was a fantastic stream. I've also got a Rumble channel, which I do things on. I do exclusive stuff over there, and that's actually I'm up to 119 followers in there. So trying to push the numbers up on that one if anyone wants to check in on that. I do my radio streams over there now because I can play music without an interruption. Like YouTube, you get taken down. So that's I can't fight that feeling anymore. Is REO Speedwagon Emperor's NM. REO RNA Speedwagon, keep on vaxing you. That's their big hit. So yeah, Foreigner stream on Thursday on the Rock and Roll Rowdies YouTube channel. I will be hosting their second live stream. They're going to try and do one every Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. The subject this week is going to be their first European tours they did back in the day with various bands. Vinegar Joe, which was Robert Palmer's band in 71, 72. Van der Graaf generator. And it's actually interesting. We were talking about early 1970s Europe, and they experienced as road managers some very interesting things taking a UK band around Europe in that day. It wasn't as easy as it would be now. So that will be an interesting chat. Other than that, you'll see me around on stuff.
On stuff. I like that. I like that a lot, 70s. Keep up the stuff, sir. All right. Remember, stay homoerotic, my friend. And I will see you soon, as always.
Indeed. I look forward to it.
I do too.
Get the latex supplies in.
The feelings are mutual. Thank you, Richard.
Yes. Well, aside from a somewhat busy week this week so far, things are going to quiet down for me. I hope to make it back on the bootleg MFR Roadhouse this Friday on the Jed Revenwolf channel. I usually manage to get there between 8 and 9 Central Time PM, and that's all I've got going that I know of. That's the only thing scheduled. But every once in a while, somebody's kind enough, like that 70s rock band, to give me an invite to a different stream. So sometimes I just show up at random. Anyway, see you in the chats. Thanks again, Nick.
No, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. All right. It's always valuable to me. And last but not least, our fellow gentleman here, Mr. Bruce Lombardo. Sir, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time as well. Love hanging out with you. I want you to plug whatever it is you want.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really want everybody to come back here in 3 weeks' time because I can't wait to start talking about Van Damme films, and especially ones directed by Mr. John Woo. That was a very important part of my early 20s, late teens. Friday night, my co-host for my Monday night show, Janet from Another Planet, is hosting on her channel, Janet from Another Planet. She has what is literally called the Shit Show. And if you're available for Friday night, I know some people are there. Everybody has their own schedules and such, but you see some family dynamics at play with Janet, and she brings in her sisters, and it's kind of an interesting chat. Just kind of get your words in. When you hear somebody take a breath, go. And that's how that typically is for about 2 hours. Saturday, this coming week at 12:30 in the afternoon, Central Standard, we will be resuming the tabletop RPG that I have been running for my friends for the past 3 years, and let's see if they can actually survive. That right there, everything that's very important for the next full 5 days. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, and Darius, thanks for plugging in his channel. I do appreciate that. All right, thank you, Darius, for the wrenching. And guys, right here, save the date. Mark your calendars, whether it's on your phone, August 8th, 2023, because the year does matter, is the return of Toxic Tuesday with Hard Target. So we will see you in 3 weeks. Once again, folks, thank you again for your support. New or old, it's all amazing. I appreciate it. And these guys do too. These guys love hanging out here, which I love. These guys have fun, and we're here to entertain you, give them a little homoerotic, be ridiculous, be outlandish, and throw in a little insight as well, because the insight is also part of this too, along with the ridiculous comedy toxicity. Thank you again, guys. Appreciate it.
I'd like to show you something.
The pace when I'm running, I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
You have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
You're still here?
It's over. Go home.